Hey Beth.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound like far away, but I can hear you now.
It's closer to the microphone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, that's great.
We couldn't get into the original room, so we're in a different classroom, but we put a sign up.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it was locked. I guess I could have called the police, but that felt like a whole thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they sent me the confirmation, so
Yeah. Cool. Good morning, Lindsay. It's Kim. I don't know where
hey Ken.
Hi. You can't see us, right? Oh,
No, I can't see you guys. I'll
I
start my video though.
thought there was a camera on this.
Did the slides look okay? I know it's like in the regular view, because if I make it big, I can't see anybody.
I think that's fine. It's big enough.
Is it big enough? Okay, cool.
And it's just me and Kim in person so far.
Okay. We'll give everyone a few minutes, I guess, and see. And then we do have one other person here who joined. I think earlier I got a notification there was someone in the room, so maybe they'll come back. I think maybe Mindy said she was gonna come. I didn't hear from anybody else, so
So sorry about the confusion with the balloons. I was like, they didn't open the room for us, so we just had to go somewhere else, so we came here. And then we put the wrong number on that one, so then I had to put another sign. Okay.
oh, is Noah there? Is that
Oh, this Isaiah. Oh, hello.
Isaiah? Okay, sorry. I'm trying to like decipher the voices. It's kind of hard to hear, but
It is in this room. I'm sorry for the confusion.
oh, there's Noah. Okay.
Fun challenge to find it.
It is kind of fun. Well, I'm glad it was fun. We were just like, what are we?
We just decided that a scavenger hunt in the morning would be the best way to
We
start
got
your
our
day.
exercise, so it's great. And then sing.
Hi, how's it going?
I just saw
Yeah, no, he's here. Do you want me to try to find him?
He's probably going from door to door looking to see the next sign.
I just wanted to ask, he probably knows how to send the video on. Did you like the little
Oh, yeah, he actually did. It's fun. It turns out we walked right by this
Yes.
room on our way to the first room.
wasn't by choice, sorry.
No, I get it. I actually had in my mind that it was in that psychology room that's over in the corner. But I think that's on this floor, and that's a nice hybrid room.
That's right. Yeah, so they've enforced the rules and what like.
Oh, yeah, we're not supposed to.
Because our timeline says January.
Yes, maybe like first.
Okay, got it. So I can go through that timeline.
Yeah. Thanks for your patience, everyone on Zoom. Sorry.
All good. We'll wait. Maybe some more folks will jump on Zoom. How many people are there in the room?
4.
Okay.
5. right? Isaiah, Scott Haggerty, Mindy Story, Kim, and me.
Cool. Okay. Are you all working on the video, or should we just get started?
Texted for help, so I don't know.
Okay, we can wait. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have I don't, our our presentation is not very long, so I think we can troubleshoot for a couple minutes and then we'll still have time to discuss things if needed.
So that they can see us.
So the camera.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, right in front. Or you see it,
Yeah.
I know. It was on there for a long time. Like, I kept like looking. Maybe.
Come on. Sorry for the
I-
round.
Okay, no problem.
We're trying to figure out how to get our cameras out.
Oh, Ryan, never. Maybe I'm just supposed to like down.
If it's gonna be in the connection, so it's not-
I think it's fixed.
Did you guys succeed? I think so.
Hey, I can see you all.
Like, so.
We have a box.
I didn't really, I just
Thanks for trying.
It texted me like about money, like it says I'm not like, sorry, I don't know how to do this or something. I was like, yeah, it's fine. Never.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll have him not to make it. But
This is what we're doing now.
We should just do this every day.
it's kind of a nice TV.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sarah, and thank you. Okay, so that everyone in here knows, the microphone is in the center. So when you're speaking, just speak up, and that way it'll make it easier for the rest of the Zoom.
Great. All right, awesome. Thank you for doing all the tech and getting that set up, Beth. Sorry, the room was not unlocked. But I suppose that's the NEIU way. There's always something, right? But welcome everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I have 8:45 kid drop off, so getting to campus is a little bit hard by 9. Yeah, welcome again to the Green Fee public meeting. I think many of you know Green Fee and are aware of Green Fee, but we will go through our agenda that we have here, and then we'll just have time for discussion and Q&A at the end. So maybe a quick introduction of our new executive board of students for the Green Fee. Do you all want to just do a quick introduction?
Hi, I'm Kim Rice. I'm the chairperson of the Green Fee this year, and I am a senior in a biology major here in our district.
Hi, I'm Isaiah Cruz. I'm the secretary. I am in my third year.
Noah?
My name is Noah Hunter. I'm the vice chair of the Green Fee Committee, and this is my second year as an earth science major.
Awesome. Welcome. And then I'm Lindsay Maldonado. I'm one of the faculty advisors. And Beth, I think you all know who's there with you. And so, yeah, so here's the run of show for today. We'll go through our presentation, we'll do questions and Q&A and close out. So the goal for the meeting today is obviously to meet the new executive board and get to know the committee members a little bit, explain how green fee works and both what the committee does and the actual fee itself, increase awareness for the green fee committee and the work that we're doing, and then start thinking about and soliciting ideas to guide and prioritize the funding for spring. So what is the green fee? This is something that has kind of recently changed. So it's not just a fee, right? It is the committee and the work that they do, but the fee used to be a $3 per credit kind of standard fee. And now it has been consolidated with the mandatory general fee, which is an $85 fee that all students are charged. And so that has, I think when we looked at the budget, it was like 40 cents per credit hour or something was the fee. So it's the link is actually here embedded in this picture if you have questions or interested in learning more about the actual fee, the mandatory general fee. Obviously, this is a student-led committee as well. It dates back, I think, to 2007. And we really, students are being charged this fee as part of their tuition. So we want them to guide the use of these fees. And so what we do, Beth and I, the faculty advisors, will work with the executive board and the rest of the committee of the green fee to administer and implement sustainable campus projects using all of these fees. And so those are the things we'll be doing in the coming semester. Here's the Green Fee mission. It's also hosted on the Green Fee Committee website on the NEIU site. But we identify, research, and recommend projects in ways to use the Green Fee funds. And so, like I just said, we fund those implementation of those sustainability projects. And we'll talk through some of those projects and what they've looked like in the past. It's a 9-member committee. And so there's 5 student reps, 2 staff reps from facilities, and then 2 of actually there's 1 non-facilities rep too, right? I think this might not be right. Yeah. And then the 2 faculty advisors. And so here's our current student membership. So I think 3 of our executive board are here, and then we have the other Nick and EJ. And then here's our current staff and faculty makeup. So we have several facilities folks listed here because we've continued to be sent names. I'm not quite sure who the point person will be just yet, but I suppose we'll figure that out in the coming semester as we will rely on them more as we get proposals going. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to pass this slide over to the executive board, to Kim. Maybe you'll kick us off just to talk a little bit about why the green fee is important to you all.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. So I didn't actually know what the green fee was exactly when I first started going to Northeastern. And then what ended up happening was I would be walking around through my day and I would stumble upon something that was really helpful, and I would see a little green fee logo on it, and that it was actually provided by the green fee. And so I started to look into it, and some of those examples are the water bottle refilling stations, which I use daily. And then in the summer months, I also ride my bike. So having those extra bike racks and always having a place to park my bike is amazing. So these are some of the reasons why it's important to me. It really does help me. It makes Kermit always said it's not easy being green, but we do have the green fee actually makes it easier to be sustainable on our campus.
For me, I'm kind of in the same boat as Lisa. When I first started going to NEIU, I didn't know what the green fee maybe. But I kind of started to get a better idea about it when I joined the environmental studies program. And I would go around walking, and I learned that even like the tree and landscape initiative is something has been involved with. And then going into my GCG green conservation group, when I got really interested in the gardening, the campus garden that was there, and learned that that's also something that they were responsible for. So it's a place where I learned learned that, like, for me as part of the community to take action, like the ability to take action and basically make a change for campus, and also just help me do something that I'm passionate about.
Noah, you have anything to add?
I mean, we pretty much covered everything, but I think the one of the coolest things I noticed was that also before I knew what the Green Peak Committee was, I saw that we had the bird strike protectors up over a lot of the windows around campus, and that was really neat because I've only been in the city for a couple years and I haven't really seen those around, so it was neat seeing that and then getting to know that we do a lot of stuff like that around campus.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. Does anybody else want to share why the green fee is important to them? Anyone in the room? No, it's too early on Friday. Oh, Mindy, is that your hand up? Okay.
We're really lucky in terms of like, well, unlucky and lucky. One unlucky thing is we don't have a designated sustainability manager on campus, so that makes things a little bit more challenging. But we're really lucky because we have this source of funding, which a lot of other universities don't have. So that's why I love the Green Fee.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a good point. That yeah, we need to kind of fight for a sustainability officer or somebody to help. Perhaps a conversation we can have with Shireen at some point as part of thinking about environmental justice and how that rolls into the DEI office and what they're doing over there. So things to think about, I suppose. Anybody else before we move on? Okay. All right, I think, so Beth, I'm going to turn it over to you. So what does the Green Fee fund?
Yeah, so you all just heard some examples of things that the Green Peace funded in the past. I'll tell you a few more, one of which is the electric vehicle and charging stations, which my car is currently plugged into right now in the parking garage. So it's really nice to have those. We have those here on campus and at El Centro, which is great. Another is the solar panels. There's one and one at CCICS. I'm not sure what the status of those are right now. We don't have an active swimming pool in the building, but theoretically they're there and can be hooked up when we do have the pool back. Other projects like Kim mentioned are the reusable water bottle filling stations, which I also use every day. And then we can also fund technology like these large book scanners that can save paper in the long run by keeping us from having to make copies of things. So not all the things that Green Fee funds have an immediately obvious like sustainability function, like that's not always their first, but as long as proposals have a sustainability function, then they can still be funded by the Green Fee. That's something to point out and consider. Another one, and this is one that's near and dear to my heart, is the Kaleidoscape bird screens that are currently across from Cafe Descartes, and we got funding last year to install them on all the class hallways on campus. We've just gotten delayed a little bit because of the weather. That can't be installed in cold weather, but those will be up in the spring on all the hallways, saving hundreds of bird lives a year. So I'm really excited about that. That was some of my ornithology students led that. I think we'll get those up soon. Other projects are the raised garden beds. Some of you might remember there used to be a raised garden bed in the tennis courts that were part of a community garden. They weren't owned by NEIU. But it was such a great idea that now the Green Fee has funded these for NEIU. They were previously in the open green area, and now they've moved to old tennis courts. And I know the GCG has done a lot of great work with this and more planned in the future. Yeah, some of the other ones that don't necessarily have that immediate sustainability function I was talking about are things like upgrading lighting. It's not something you might think about or even notice, but it does save a lot of energy. So those can be really important. We've also been getting a lot of these biodiversity and wildlife proposals lately, like the bird stripes and the native gardening also. I know Dr. Story's been in charge of a lot of, has proposed a lot of native gardening around DBH. So the proposals, we'll go through that process in a bit, but I just want you to know that they can be fairly, there's a wide range of things that can be funded, as long as the connection can be made to sustainability or environmental justice. That's good.
Yes, okay. So it's really a two-part process. First is the pre-proposal, which is basically where we're looking for ideas. This doesn't have to be super detailed and completely laid out, but you do need to give us something that definitely aligns with our mission, which again is funding sustainable environmental, economic and social justice initiatives here at campus. And we need a description of that idea. How is it going to impact sustainability? And then just an approximation of what it will cost. And then once the pre-proposals are turned in to the Green Fee Committee, we will vote on them. And if the pre-proposal is accepted, then we move into the full proposal. So the full proposal is a much more detailed plan where you're actually going to be really looking at the feasibility of the project. You're looking at who can be the potential vendors, and then getting bids so that you can see which one will be the best cost-effective way to move forward, and then we'll be ready to implement from there. And okay, so this is an example of what our timeline looks like, and it looks like for this year, we're going to be calling for those pre-proposals in January in the spring semester. We'll look for requesting those pre-proposals. A month later, we will have a meeting and vote on which ones we want to move forward. And then this is a really great part, then the person who wrote the pre-proposal gets connected with a committee member, and together they will write these will then get submitted, and in a month later in April, we're hoping to review all those proposals and make a decision. And then it's on to implementation of the ones that were chosen. And as it says here, the timeline can shift. It's not exact, but we do like to have the purchases made by June.
Great, thanks, Kim. All right, so yeah, I guess we want to hear from you, Kim and Noah, and Isaiah, do you want to lead this discussion? Maybe take some notes, ideas that come up?
Sure. What do you guys think? It's so exciting to have funding and to be able to take advantage of it and make some important changes here.
One thing I'd like to add really quickly is that pre-proposals can come from anyone in the NEIU community. So students, staff, faculty. Yeah, I think that covered everyone, but they can all submit pre-proposals. So you don't have to be a student to do so.
And even Green Fee committee members
yes.
as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was really curious about the social justice aspect where it said, I read on one of the slides, it said how we don't usually have here at Northeastern that would mean a lot to them to have part of their education funded, and what their future career path would be is something that would then go on to lead to more sustainability in our community.
Great idea. You know anything about the logistics of that?
I think it's possible, depending on who you ask. We had a little bit of a hard time paying someone that we hired last summer from Green Fee funding, just because we had to do it in a roundabout way. So, you know, it's your money. It's this committee's money, and I feel like that's a consideration that we can.
But it's theoretically possible.
I think so.
I think it's sorry guys. I think it's a great idea. I think we could certainly think about using funds to provide like a scholarship stipend, which is actually something we've done in the early childhood department. We've got some grant funds from the state, and so we've been able to use those support student stipends. So they apply for these kind of mini grants, and then we just distribute those. So there's a process, at least that I've used, to do that. So I think that's certainly something we can look into. Kim, I'm happy to work with you on submitting something around that if that's something you're interested in. Just given like that process wise, it seems like something that I could probably help with.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think related to that too, just thinking about having a conversation with Shireen and the DEI office and thinking about their role in this committee and how they can help us think about some of these social justice oriented projects related to sustainability and environmental justice and all of that. So, yeah.
And it would give us a lot of, giving students money, it would be posted, I think, in a lot of places, so that I think that's a good place.
That's a good point.
Addition.
And as we, the executive members, I think I'll mention a little bit, a lot of us didn't know what the Green Fee Committee was and what
Yeah.
we were doing, and so yeah, visibility would be amazing. Does anybody else have any other thoughts? Something to think about over the break?
Yeah, I know like something that came up in the conversation we had with the financial office during that budget meeting was thinking about the spirit store and if there's kind of green fee related products that we could fund and then put in there to raise funds for green fee. I don't know logistically how that would work, if that money would go back to the spirit store or what, but again, like, you know, having water bottles made or reusable water bottles, right, that we could have green fee logos on or shirts made out of, you know, recycled plastic or whatever it is. You know, I think that something like that maybe could be kind of fun and again, kind of a marketing tool, I guess, for the committee.
That's great. Many of us will roll. Figure it out. Question just.
No, please speak up. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. So I was thinking, you know, I know our leader is to say, you know, but maybe we can create a scholarship or, you know, some type of funding. I think for me being this quasi, you know, to NEIU and community, but having a good background in environmental studies, I think would be very helpful if we were able to support a couple stickers that we could pay from the Green Fee Fund to, you know, they would come with their own background, et cetera. So we would have that ability to kind of tap into their bench of followers, if you will. And then we would also be able to showcase on the community, this is a speaker funded by the Green Fee. Let us give you a bit more information on what is environmental studies, what in that's because I think a lot of people when they think environmental, they think environmental science. So I got my my master's in environmental studies because I'm not a science person, but it was very crafted around how do you speak to a community about the environment, how do you really trigger words that shut people down, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm so living in a part of the city that is neglected as far as environmental services are concerned. So I think, especially at our institution, if we could figure out, you know, a couple of local speakers who like who would be able to pay to come and give a talk specific to some of the topics that are important to NEIU and more broadly to the community that we serve, and then even more broadly specific to Chicago. You know, that would really help. But I know that the city is reinstituting its Department of Environmental Studies or Programming or something. I forget the acronym, but it's in the mayor's budget for we factored in money for that. So I just think it would be really important, and I think that would help again bring visibility not only to the Green Fee, but also more broadly to NEIU to for the speaker or two once a year, a couple times a year.
That's a great
I
idea.
love it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Do you have people in mind?
I have a couple people in mind. I did a class with the Peggy Art Museum, you know, for people who are conservation minded, et cetera. So I'm a member of the museum, so I definitely would tap into the community.
I hope that you'll submit a pre-proposal.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great, because you said so. She said? I'm the university registrar. I'm the registrar, yeah.
Oh, okay. I see your name. Okay. Awesome.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what drew you here? You clearly have a lot of background with environment. You're just interested in knowing.
To specific to this.
To the Green Fee, sorry.
Oh, because of my background, like I said, I got one of my degrees in environmental studies, and I very much advocate for, you know, just a broadening of the environment, you know, bringing in minorities to speak to specific the issues that they encounter. Because again, I think a lot of the framework around conservation is very focused on, oh, save the polar bears, think about, and while I want to save them, I think oftentimes in order to bring in a wider perspective, a wider group of people, you kind of need to hit them where they live, things that they encounter, and help them understand this is an environmental issue. More broadly, if your water's not clean, is it particularly affecting you versus the people who live in Uptown? I'm a native of Uptown, now I live in West Public Park, and I can very much see the disparity in the resources that are in Uptown versus where I live. So,
Still thinks it's.
Yeah, that's great. These are great ideas. Thank you all so much. Are there other thoughts? I won't keep us the whole time if we're done. But I want to make sure that everyone has a space to offer a thought or an idea.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry, I have one more question. That was my comment, and I have a question, please. So because I'm the registrar and I work closely with Student Payment Services and the Bursar, I was very much involved in that conversation about the consolidation of the student one. So, and I don't want to say, obviously, people may not know that, students are very tuned into their billing. So there would be a lot of discussion with students about green fee. I don't support that. What is that, et cetera, et cetera. So the obviously the understanding was that we just make it very broad based and have the subset under the umbrella of mandatory fee.
That's what I was gonna say.
So, kind of eliminate those questions of performance fee. I don't, go to any of the performance, et cetera, et cetera. So, my question is, how long has the green fee been at $3? Question 1A, and then 1B. Is there a conversation in increasing it to $5? Because I think, again, it's really important that we be mindful of, everybody knows this, inflation, and, we're not jacking up the fee to make it exorbitant, but I think that is something that could be considered as we move forward.
It's no longer $3. It actually was never indexed to inflation. It was $3 from the inception, which is decreasing in real value. But according to Manish, the whole thing is that it's all percentages of the consolidated fee. And then what was it, 47 cents or some number like that per credit hour? The total dollars were larger under the new formula. And according to him, the percentages can get tweaked to based on whoever, if they raise the total $85 to 90, another the union could get the more money or whatever, but the green fees aggregate, the sum will go down, but it's always these percentages of the $85 that turn into a lump sum. So it's no longer 3, it's percentages change, and they say it's better for us.
Scott, I'm glad you're there to provide that context from that meeting. Yeah, I think it was 43 cents or 42 cents or something like that. And yes, they did say that the way that the fee worked out this academic year was that we, I think, received $8,000 more or something. It ended up being more, maybe not quite that much. So yeah, it's a little unclear, I think, how that all works out, but hopefully it will continue to benefit the green fee, and we'll continue to see more money every academic year for these projects. But we'll continue to watch that and have conversations with the financial folks if we are seeing if things are trending in a different direction. I think if we think about visibility in all these other projects and green fee becomes something that is more kind of known around campus and people are more become interested in it, then we have a case to say that we need a bigger allocation of the funds, that the projects are more expensive and more, or they're, we have a greater need. So yeah, I think we'll keep watching it, but
We were promised the percentage would go down, right? I remember him saying.
He said percentage, but he must have meant cents per credit hour.
that-
Because if they raise it to 85 to 90, then your percentage can go down, but it's a larger number to multiply by. So the dollars would stay the same. So it's like, let's say they had $5 more to mandatory fees, it could all go to someone else.
Yeah.
Both our,
But we.
the dollars would stay the same, but the percentage of 90 would be smaller.
Yes. Okay.
So to answer the first 1A of your question, I think it's 2009.
2007 is. what
Seven?
our records
Okay.
say, Yeah.
So 2007, it's always been $3. It was a student-led initiative, and it was brought forth by the Student Government Association. So when they changed the fee structure, that organization wasn't really, I don't know how they were included, but the green fee wasn't really included. So, yeah, and there is sort of a caveat to this conversation about how the fees are available to be restructured according to the president or the executive board at any point. So we really need to be vigilant and watch exactly what, whoever is handling the money for the green fee. I don't know if that person is online.
No, it's how.
Okay, yeah, so I think, it just needs to be really transparent, and it's just something we need to stay on top of, and we're happy to support that. I'll speak for Scott, and I know he is, and yeah, but I think that's sort of the background.
I thank you so much for the context and the answers. The only thing I would offer, just support. Prior to the restructuring, the detail, the green fee had its own associated detail. Okay, so thus you can track your input, just like every other entity that had money, you can pull in the data associated with your detail code. So I don't know what that structure looks like now. But if our conversation is, it sounds so with this restructuring, now it's okay. They say that X, we think that Y. So, but now that you don't have the detail code to have the hardcore data, they can say anything. So I just, just saying that, that it's really important that whomever is handling the money, that I would imagine they have some mechanism to say, even under the umbrella of the mandatory general fee, each bucket is still getting its appropriate allocation. And then how is that formula squared away? What is the formula? So that, again, transparency is always best. And if we want to proceed in an environment of transparency, long story short, everybody knows. Like, the billionaires will tell you they know where their money is. So something like
That's a really good point. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm sorry, I don't know that I heard your name.
Oh, it's Rashida.
Rashida. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming. Your insight, I think, is super helpful. So thank you for being here. Any other thoughts or questions?
I just want to repeat what I said before about the sustainability manager and how, I don't know if there's a way that this can be done through a proposal of a study group or a work group to put together a proposal, like do the market research of how much this position would cost and who we should talk to at NEIU. I've tried to work on this on the side for years and just never gotten anywhere. And there's just never a good time to propose a new position, but we have to have it. I mean, every other university has, some universities have like whole staff of people who are in charge of sustainability.
Full-time position.
And we have a committee of people who volunteer. So it's not ideal. And in order to be, I feel like in order to be competitive with the other, or just in line with other universities and colleges and high schools, to some extent, we have to have a sustainability position. And if nobody else is going to do it, it's going to have to be us. I know, I just, well, at least to propose it and just to make it a possibility and say, here's all of the information. here's a job description, here's how much it's gonna cost you to hire a person, and here it all is. And
Yeah,
then-
that's a great idea, like a needs assessment or something, and then we can,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe needs assessment better, yeah.
Course releases will cut.
No, I don't think a course
Yeah, I
release,
think
I think it needs to be a full-time professional who's trained in like
Mhm.
institutional sustainability management. I don't think there's anyone here that could do that in a course release capacity. I don't know, I could be wrong.
Maximilian KRU shadow the rest.
Yeah.
The person who evaluates our existing positions and does the research on how competitive our existing positions are with the wider community. So I think if you were to at least start with seeing what the sisters do as far as this particular position. So again, going back to the data, here are all the other Illinois publics and they all have acts. Here is a job description. What would it cost Maximilian? If that's his full-time role to query.
Sorry.
That's under breath. That's an under breath question. To, you know, just to start that ball rolling. Because again, we need to start with the proposal and just understand how much would it cost for us to implement such and such a position. So at least we would know dollars wise what we're working with, what we're talking about, and then make the case to whomever the uppers. All Illinois publics have this at this point. You know, and I know, again, even though I'm still quasi new to the community, I know there are many offices, many departments that can say, well, yeah, ombuds, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But I think if we don't propose it and get it in front so that they know that there is a need, that there's a desire, then, you know, without, in the absence of a narrative, you know, they think that everything's okay.
Max Kruchek, KRUCZ.
You know him very well.
Okay.
So we're over.
Great. Would it be productive to talk to him about this or?
Yeah. Be nice to talk about someone other than your.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other thoughts? Maybe ideas are being sparked by this conversation? Well, I think we have a good list. And I'm sure that once we start spreading the word a little bit more, we'll have some other proposals from other folks around campus. But I think this is a great start. All right, I want to just throw back to the rest of the committee members there. Any last final thoughts before we close out?
I have a final thought right now. How would you feel about, what if we bump the timeline a little bit closer? Like, what if we put out the pre-proposal call really soon so people have winter break to work on it? Rather than
sure.
I know I was the one who suggested January earlier, but now I'm thinking maybe we do it in the next week. And then
Yeah,
people-
I mean, I think all the materials are there, right? I mean, Alex,
Yeah,
is a
it
great
should be-
folder.
we
So
live in our- yeah.
yeah, I can look at that stuff and then yeah, we can set a time maybe in the next week to try to get it sent out.
Yeah.
And then
I think
yeah,
it's just a
great
target
idea.
announcement. Like, I think we just need to set up the Google Forms or whatever, and then send out the target announcement.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Have it due, I don't know, in early January, so that we can review at the very beginning of the semester. That gets us ahead of 5 months on our fifth time.
Right. Okay, yeah, I'll look through that stuff and then I'll just send around any updates or, you know, if there's timelines or whatever that need to be updated, I'll check with you all to
Yeah.
finalize all that. And then hopefully, yeah, in the next week, we can try to get the TA out. But yeah, that's a good idea to have break to kind of think about.
And then we keep this momentum too. From the ideas.
Yeah, agree. Great. Okay. Yep. I'll take a look at that stuff and so just look out for some emails from me for next steps on that. Any other Isaiah, Noah, Kim? Any other final thoughts?
Really excited to get started. So setting that out early, and giving people time to think about it. I would love to come back and be able to start looking through proposals and see what we get.
Yeah, great. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you all so much for spending your Friday morning with us. And I will be in touch with the committee for next steps. Everyone else, look out for a TA to submit a pre-proposal in the next week or so. And we will probably get together again in the new year. So have a wonderful holiday season. I don't see anyone. And we'll be in touch.
You all,
Thank you all. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
Bye.